Hi there! Welcome back to my little knitting ramble here on the internet. My name is Stephanie. I'm coming to you from Vancouver Island on the west coast of Canada. I obviously had a pretty busy December like most of you guys did, so I just wanted to wish you a happy new year and hope that you guys all had some wonderful family time like I did. This one's a little bit of a recap on the things that I've knitted. I don't have lots of the actual items myself here right now because lots of them were gifted away, so I can put up pictures hopefully. I'm just still getting the hang of the video editing software and my computer is pretty old, so editing things has been a little bit fun. I don't actually have audio when I'm editing, so it's kind of a guessing game, but we're gonna figure it out. Anyway, I just wanted to start off by saying thanks for watching my video last time. I got a few views. It's kind of fun to have a couple comments to respond to. This knitting community is really, really great. But anyway, let's get on with all the things that I made. So first off, I did finish the headbands that I made for my roommate. I ended up making two. I made one on 2mm needles and one on 3mm needles. It was just using this yarn here. So one of them is this Barocco Ultrafine Superwash wool that I got to make a pair of Celu mittens for one of my friends a couple of years ago. And this other one is just some alpaca yarn that I got from the Beehive Wool shop in Victoria. So I have those two. I held them together and made a couple of different headbands. One of them went to one of my roommates and the other one went to my good friend's girlfriend. So they love them. They go kind of nice and underneath one of their bicycle helmets, and then my other friend just wears it when she's going jogging on the forest trails. So I also conveniently have enough left that I could probably make myself one, because I'm kind of getting sick of the headband that I wear underneath my helmet, and I kind of want to spoil myself and maybe make myself something, because it tends to be, as it is with many knitters, as soon as you finish one project, somebody else wants you to knit something else. So that's kind of how it goes. But this, I got my yarn here, and I'll probably make myself one as well, just before the weather warms up and I don't need it anymore. Anyway, so that was that. I finished those two headbands. They were fabulous. Everyone loved them, and obviously I gotta make some more. The next thing I finished was some thermal knit socks for my roommate, so hopefully I can get the picture up here. I ended up using this stuff. It's called Simpson Sears. It's a super old wool. This is lot number 63. Obviously the tape on these things has gone yellow because, I don't know, it was from like the 60s or something, from an old company that doesn't exist anymore. I got this from one of the, I don't know, estate sales, I guess, in Victoria, where there was some old lady that couldn't knit anymore, and she was just giving her yarn for a really cheap price. So I filled up my bicycle bags, bicycled home, and I've held on to this wool for probably about a decade now. So it's good that it's been able to go into some projects. My roommate really likes the socks. I do have a bit of a video, hopefully I can put it up here, of kind of the texture that's on the inside. I would do one stitch and then slip the next stitch, one stitch, slip the next stitch, and then the next time around I would do the ones that I missed to kind of have a whole layer of floats in the back, which gives it a whole bunch of warmth, which I think is really, really nice. They actually fit me super well, and I wish I made myself a pair as well. But that's okay, I have some other socks that I've been making and whatnot that fit me really well, and you can't have everything, right? You can't always do the selfish knitting as much as we'd like to, but that's alright. So those were Ashley's socks. I think they fit her quite well, and she's been taking them on vacation to visit her family right now, so I can't show you those either. The next thing I finished was some toques for a family that we were supporting over the Christmas break at work. So we call it an angel family, and we get a family every year, and it'll be a single parent with some kids, and basically they are struggling to make ends meet, so we kind of do all their Christmas gifts for them. And part of my gift to them was to knit a couple of these toques. They're just this mix of acrylic and merino wool that I got from a sweater that I tore apart, but I thought they were pretty comfy, and I was actually able to knit most of one of them, actually maybe both of them, on my trip to Mexico. I went down with one of my friends and just, knitted on the plane. But I did find out the hard way, unfortunately, that if you fly down to Mexico with knitting needles, that's totally fine, as it is with most international flights. but you can't actually take them back home. So I had my circular knitting needles that I had a pair of socks on. Those were taken, and what else was it? There was a pair of 3.75 millimeter Knitter's Pride needles that they also took away, because they have their little book that they go through that you can't find on the internet, and it says that you can't have anything that's sharp and longer than 6 centimeters, even though that's what pens are. Don't get me started, I was pretty upset, but that's okay. They're just knitting needles, we can buy new ones. So I finished those toques. Those went off to the family and they were super helpful, or super thankful, which was super nice. It kind of just feels good to give things away to people. The next thing that I finished is Monica's toque. She's one of my coworkers. I had originally made a toque for my coworker Tom, who really, sorry about that. Yeah, there was something happening upstairs. He really liked his toque, and my other coworker decided that she also wanted one like it. So I used a little bit of different wool. I used the remainder of the wool from Tom's toque, which was this organic merino that I got from my local yarn shop when I ran out of the other white yarn. So that's literally all that's left of that one, and that was the main color. I also used some of this classic Patton's wool, which gave it the black color, and then I had to buy this green wool, which is Cascades 220, which everybody knows and loves. So that was really fun to knit. Of course, like lots of my other things, I just used Microsoft Excel to design the pattern. Of course, I went through way too many iterations, and she was happy with it no matter what. So everybody seems to like that one. She doesn't want me to have it to do anything with, so I can't really have really good footage of it or anything or show you guys, because she's claimed it, and it doesn't even have the tag on it yet, but that's another story. So I was going to just sew on one of these little tags. Not sure if I can get it close enough for you to see. I made these little tags that say hand knitted by Stephanie. I got them laser engraved when I was laser engraving a Ramoli board for my dad. So I've been putting these on a lot of the things that I've been knitting. So she wants one of those. That was that project that got finished. And then another thing that I started when I was on the plane to Mexico, which I've never done before. I've always made socks from the toe up, because I've always been using scraps of yarn. Never really know how much I have left, but I decided that I was going to spoil myself and knit top-down socks, and I was going to scare myself and try some new techniques. So I decided to do the Cozy Autumn socks by this Handmade Life, and they actually are coming along really, really well. I did the twisted German cast on, which I think is what she recommends around the top. So that's been nice and stretchy. And I'm also doing one on circular needles and one on double pointed needles, just so I could see the difference. So this is how it's turning out so far. I really like the pattern. It's super cute. I got about this far on this one before I had to take the needles out when I was on the plane home. So I haven't knitted on that one anymore. But what I have done is I started the second one, which is on double pointed needles, and that one's also going super, super well. So it's my first time doing top down. It's actually my first time doing lace knitting as well. So that's been really, really fun. I never really knew how exciting yarn overs can be. I always thought they looked a little bit silly, but here we are. Did some lace and I really like it. I tried to do an Eye of Partridge heel. I don't know why it doesn't actually show up really that Eye of Partridge-y. So if anybody happens to know why that might be, that would be cool. I'm assuming maybe it's because it's superwash yarn, potentially. I'm just using the Stroll Tweed fingering weight. I think it's a Knit Picks yarn. I just like all the little tweedy bits in it. I got this with a set of knitting needles for cheaper than what the knitting needles would have cost. So one of those amazing steals of deals that you can get online. And yeah, that's where those are going. I'm really excited to do the gusset and do attach those stitches and knit forward, because I've never done that before. We'll see how it goes, but I think so far they're the same size, which is amazing because two different types of needles, don't know what I'm doing. And I definitely have a couple coworkers that are eyeing them up already, so we'll see how that goes. And the next thing that I've been working on is the Forestland sweater. I know last time, the first video I talked about it, and I just had the short rows and the cast on, And that's basically still where I'm at, but I have done 2 whole rows of getting the color work started. So you see those little brown flecks? Yeah, that's 2 rows. That's where we're at. There's nothing different about this one. It's still the Forestland sweater by Jennifer Steingass. I'm still using alpaca yarn. It's still going super well. I really like it. I'm liking it a lot better now than I was the first time, because when I was first knitting it, I was still pretty new to colorwork knitting, and knitting with 3 strands at a time, because there's 3 in this one, and it being alpaca so it's slippery, and it was still quite new to colorwork. I think that might be why I had to rip it back 2 or 3 times. But that's okay, because we're here now. Everything's going well. I had some good knitting time over the winter break, and I will hopefully have more to show you next time on this one. It's still super stretchy, really, really good. And it's actually sitting currently in something I will show you at the end that I got from a roommate that I really like. The next thing you guys have all seen as well, this is my crochet blanket that I'm working on. I definitely have decided that I need to add more rows of bicycles because it's going to be nowhere near long enough. And I do have a tally of all the time I've spent on it so far, and I don't actually want to add it up yet. But I wonder if I can even get this all in camera. I think this is the right way up. Nope, that's upside down. So this is how this blanket is going. I think it's going pretty well. Got the bicycles in the middle. I'm just on the geometric shapes at the top here. And unfortunately I haven't been able to do crazy amounts since last time. I did basically from here up and the same amount on the opposite side since I showed you guys last. It's not a crazy amount, but each row takes about 20 minutes, and so doing one on one side, one on the other kind of adds up. And I also made a few mistakes, so I had to rip back a few times because you know how it is. You want it to be nice, and sometimes you knit for a few hours and you have to rip back that work and you do it again. So that's kind of been what's happening with me. That's all right. I'm about, I think maybe a third of the way through this geometric section, and then I'm thinking I might put more bicycles in after that, because then it'll be some bicycles, some geometric, and some bicycles. The nice part about this is that it's actually big enough now to kind of cover you up a little bit while you're knitting. I've never crocheted. I've never crocheted a blanket before. I've never done anything big. I've always done just the little amigurumis and that kind of stuff. So for me to have such a big project that it can keep me warm while I'm crocheting has been really, really nice. That being said, we're still crocheting in front of the fireplace, so that gets really, really warm, and sometimes I sweat a little bit, which makes your hands sticky, and then you can't crochet because you're sticking to the yarn. But long story short, it's been going really well. I've been listening to podcasts with this, learning more about how to help people get better with my job and life. So that's been a real treat. I mentioned it last time, but this is sort of my whole blanket is basically me working on getting myself better and other people better, listening to podcasts about trauma or different physio-related things. So this whole blanket, it'll be nice to be like, yeah, that was the one where I was working on improving everybody. So there's that. I'll try and chuck that off to the side. The next thing that I started that's really, really exciting to me is nail bending. I know some of you guys have probably heard of it. I've heard that it's quite slow compared to knitting, but because it's like the stitches are taller, it goes about the same pace overall, or something like that. I've been talking a bunch about fiber arts over this holiday season, and my roommate got kind of interested in nail bending, and he decided to take an old piece of oak trim out to the garage, and he came back and he had a bunch of nail bending needles basically prepared. So since then he has like filed them down, sanded them all out, made them nice and smooth, and varnished them. And then just tonight we were practicing some nail bending. He's doing the York stitch and I'm doing the Oslo stitch. And then today he was also learning a little bit of the Maman stitch, I think that's what it's called. It's a bunch of different stitches. Like, nail bending is so cool. But this is my little tiny swatch so far. I don't think I'll be able to get it to focus super well on this. Maybe. There you go. You can probably Google pictures and it might show up a little bit better. But that's my first row here at the bottom was super, super messy. And then it's getting neater, but it's also getting tighter. So my little swatch is kind of flared at the bottom and narrower at the top. But that's okay. I've made a little tube. I'm going to keep going with it, again with all of that yarn that I have from the estate sales. We also did try it with acrylic, and it's kind of surprising how much harder it is to do with a slippery yarn. It's a lot easier when you have something that sort of grips to itself. So I think maybe I'll try some variations on the Oslo stitch, or maybe I'll also try the Maman stitch. There's another stitch that I saw. It was called the Finnish stitch, I think, and that one looked really, really nice. It looks like it's very sturdy, like most null binding is. So I think I'll try the Finnish stitch or the Maman stitch after I do something with the Oslo stitch. If I have time, we'll see. Who knows? So what else do I have to talk about? So I've got this. I've got the null binding. This thing that I got from my roommate. She was doing a big clean out, and she has this huge basket. It's beautiful. So I've got some knitting in there. I did have to clean it because it was used as dog toys, as a holder for dog toys. But as you can see, it's seen better days. I need to tuck some things in. It's a little bit discolored now. I didn't realize that whatever material this is on the inside leaches its color out when you put hot water on it. And I was trying to get rid of all the dog cuties, and I was like scrubbing it and using some Dr. Bronner's as a soap because it smells nice and it's pretty natural and usually pretty gentle on things. And then as it was drying, more and more of the color was coming out. So that used to be white, and now it's all discolored. But it's a really cute basket. Got these handles. I was pretty happy with it, and that's going to be my new knitting basket. Because normally I just use grocery bags. Because they're cheap. That's alright though, because now I've got this guy. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is something that I have got for myself. It's coming in the mail. It should be here hopefully pretty soon. Not exactly sure when it's showing up, and I'm not sure if I accidentally got it delivered to my mom's house or my house. But it has to do with knitting. I'm going to leave it at that because it's very exciting to me. And it's probably the most money I've spent on anything other than vehicles and my education, I think. So, and obviously traveling to other countries for work and that kind of stuff. But either way, that's going to be very exciting. I will show it to you when I get it. And hopefully I figure out how to work things and whatnot. I'm not sure if that's enough of a hint for you guys or not, but that's where we're going with that. Yeah, I think that's kind of all I have. Thanks for spending maybe almost 15-20 minutes hanging out with me. I hope to see you guys next time, and maybe I will have more things to show. I hope this was amusing, and I hope you have a wonderful 2023. Hopefully it's better than 2022. Yeah, can't really get much worse than last year for some people, that's for sure. But anyway, moving forward, I hope you have a wonderful week and rest of your day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye! What you doing, Stevie?
What do you call it, princess? You liking it? No, this is what they call knitting, actually. I could teach you a thing or two if you'd let me.
I'm making some artwork.
Steph, is this
Hello.
how we knit? I think